everybody. Hello, happy Thursday. Happy, holy, sacred Thursday. Come on in, join me, be here with me. Your energy fills my room, fills my heart. I'm in my home chapel. Here's my altar, my interfaith altar. And I have some good news to share with you today. So come on in, click like, click share, start a watch party, send me some love, click on the love, send me love, let me know you're here, let me know you're on, and we will get started. So we'll get started as we always do, which is by centering ourselves, taking a nice deep breath, and using this time to relax our mind, our heart, our judgments, our fears, to just be in the present moment. And we do that together every Thursday by singing this song, Here's My Heart, Lord. And I love this song. I love that we discovered it together because it is a song that is much in line with the teachings of A Course in Miracles, which tells us to start every day in devotion, to start every day by asking for Spirit to guide us. And we ask not necessarily with words, but with the intention of our heart, simply by being willing to receive the voice, the message of Spirit. And so here we are. We begin, hand on your heart, take a nice deep breath. Here's my heart, Lord.
Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Here's my heart, Lord.
Everybody, take a nice deep breath.
Here's my heart.
Say hi to one another. Say hi to me.
Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. I am found. I am yours. I am loved. I'm made pure. I have
Anything not making you
life.
busy?
I can breathe. I am healed. I am free. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord.
Give thanks for this opportunity to be together. This is our church, our ashram, our temple, our holy space. And you are my beloved, sacred brothers and sisters. How wonderful that we're here together. We give thanks and praise. Wherever you are at home, think about the words that you're singing, the intention that you have. And just be prepared to send that love, that prayer, that praise out into the world. Just lift your voices. Be ready. I want to hear you singing. Here's my heart, Lord. Yeah, sing loud. Don't keep shy. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Take a nice deep breath and let's spend some moments in stillness and in quiet. Allow yourself in this moment to be a conduit of prayer into the world. Sending prayer, sending love, sending compassion, sending healing thoughts. Imagine that this bright light of God's love is moving through you into your heart and out into the world. Through you into your heart and out into the world. Spend a few moments in your silence and in your stillness just imagining this light through you into your heart, out to the world. And as you bless the world, you are blessed. As you bless the world, you are blessed. The light in you, through you, out into the world. And let's give thanks. Let's give thanks for this opportunity to be together tonight. I just love Thursdays. I love Thursdays. I love you guys. And my altar boy is here. The altar boy is right here, sending his love too. I'm not quite sure that I'm getting the technology right. I don't know if the comments are coming across his face, but this is his face. He's full of love. And so I learned how to flip the script. I learned how to flip the script so that you don't get the mirror effect when I'm playing a song and you can read the lyrics correctly. But then I couldn't figure out how to navigate the monitoring of them so that you could read them. I felt like I was making everybody dizzy because I couldn't seem to figure that out because I don't have my Rusty love here. You know, my amazing angel producer, Rusty, we're not together tonight. So, you know, one thing at a time. I learned how to flip the script and next I'll try and figure out some other things. But guess what? We might not have to worry about that because here's the plan. For those of you who are locals, as you know, Broward and Dade were the last two counties in Florida to move into what is being called Phase 1 reopening, and we are officially allowed to gather again. So here's the plan for Miracles with a Twist for you who are local. The plan is to meet next Thursday, June 4th, at our location, a healing space, in the back of the building. I'm going to set up a nice area, not the front, in the back, and there'll be signs and stuff. However, it still has to be social distancing, and it still has to be limited to 10. So for those of you who want to join me next Thursday in person, you're going to have to text me privately, not now, text me privately and let me know that you want to reserve a spot. And then you can bring your chair and your empty bladder, because we're still not going into the building, right? This is phase 1. We can meet outside again, like back in March when we met outside. So if you're interested, then let me know and I'll reserve a space for you up to 10 people. Now, if it's gonna rain, if we're gonna have a storm like we've had lately, then I'll already know who the 10 people are who signed up, and I'll text you and I'll let you know we're not meeting at a healing space, and then I'll have to live stream again. Now, I mean, here alone in the chapel. Now, if we can go out there, we will still live stream for those of you who are not local, and for those of you who are not one of the 10. And so we will still live stream. It's just that it will live stream as a sacred gathering like we used to, and what we really want to do. I mean, that's what we really want, is to be together, to have the energy exchange of all of us, to have the artwork, the music, the prayers, the love, the blessings, and the energetic exchange. And if we do any healing work, you know, we'll do it accurately and appropriately. We're going to maintain our social distancing. Now, Plan B on phase 1 opening is to go back into the building in July. And in that way, if we're still social distancing, we probably still need to keep it to 10 people because it's a relatively small space. But I would like to be meeting by next Thursday outdoors. You need to let me know if you're coming. And then indoors in July. So I hope you're all happy. I hope there's happy dances going on all around, because it would certainly be so amazing to be together again. And we'll have like all kinds of cyber hugs, you know, long distance hugs, and just knowing that we're in each other's presence, it'll feel like the real thing. It'll feel like a real deep hug, because even with you away from me now, I still feel you. I'm just full of love for you today, and I hope you feel the same way. So it's, you know, miracles with a twist. So here's the thing. Today, I didn't even think about this until a little bit later in the day. I realized that May 28th is my parents' wedding anniversary. My parents were married in 1949, right after the World War II. My father lived in Puerto Rico all his life, and he knew my mother's relatives in Puerto Rico. So when he came to the States, he already knew of her. And so they met. They were like 19 and 22. They fell in love. They got married. And then they both have passed away since then. And people used to say, when my mom died, my dad died first. When my mom died, people used to say, oh, they're dancing together again in heaven. And it's a nice image, but it got me thinking today, because when I think of them dancing. I grew up with them, you know, dancing in the living room. A song would come on and they would get up and dance. And certainly when we had friends over, we would dance. Everybody would dance. Now, Rusty just told me to adjust my phone, but I don't know what that means. He sent me, hello, what do I do? Let's see. Let's try something here. I don't know, my Rusty. I don't know what to do. Okay, everybody. I'm not going He said the comments are covering me. Can I switch this somehow? How about that? Okay. I think that did it. Did that do it, Rusty? You all got me like right in your face. Wasn't that weird? It's like, Lori, that's like a big chunk of Lori right in your face. But I hope you felt some love when that happened. Anyway, so I was thinking about my parents, and I was thinking, like, we have these thoughts, we have these ideas about what the world beyond our world is like. Right? And if you grew up, you know, Catholic or Jewish or Spanish, or, you know, there's culture influences, there's religious influences that influence what we think about what happens after this life. And so I was thinking, you know, are my parents dancing in heaven in their physical bodies? It's a nice image, but I also know that, you know, there's people who've passed away who were maybe had on their third marriage, but their first marriage was their real love. So who they dancing with? You know, is this a big party, a big mix-up? I don't know. But I started wondering about that, and I thought, you know what? The one thing we don't want to do is get caught up in things that we don't know. We don't want to get too distracted. The ego is so good at that. The ego is so good at distracting us by facts and figures and details and things we know and things we don't know, and trying to get us to be more into our heads about what it is or what it might be. But the mystic's path is not about being in our heads and trying to figure things out. The mystic's path is about being in our higher consciousness, a place of higher thinking, where we don't get caught up in details, but we enjoy the connection that we have to spirit while living a life of details. You see, because we still have to go out and do our life. We still have to have a life. We still have to pay the bills. We still have to navigate our sorrows. Just this week alone, we had our dear sister Chris Drum. Many of you know her from Sacred Journey Interfaith Seminary. She's also one of the co-owners of a healing space where we rent our space. And her dad just died yesterday. You know, so as much as she is such a wonderful, spiritual, influential person of love and faith, she's having her heartache. I know two people who have had a long-term marriage who just announced today that their marriage is over. Another friend of mine is mourning the loss of a longtime partner who died 1 year ago. So these are all things that are a part of life, a part of our daily experience. And yet, if we get caught up on where are they, what are they doing now? Are they dancing with their former loved one who passed before them? Then we might lose a part of the point of the necessity of realizing the cycle of life and the phenomena and the paradox, right? Because on the one hand, we love and we hold on tightly to those things we love, and yet we ultimately need to release. We need to release because there is no forever in this life. There's nothing that is forever in this life. And so we're navigating our spiritual journey, our spiritual warriorship, and yet we understand, just like the Buddha understood, that before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. We're just one day at a time living in this life as a mystic who is interested in finding a way past the mundane ego issues, right? Anger, self-judgment, judgment of others, fears, all that stuff that continuously trips us up. And so we practice every day the mystic's way. And A Course in Miracles is a wonderful tool for that. It's a wonderful tool for awakening, because the mystic's way is a way of awakening. So one of the things that we did this whole week was look at this term that kept coming over and over and over again, because we were in review, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that today. How do we interpret this concept that my mind thinks, I know, like I'm off somehow here, but you know, I'm here, and you're here, and that's what matters. You know, we're together. I'm just not very techy. So we kept saying this all week. My mind holds only what I think with God, right? That was over and over and over again. And you might have thought some about that, like, but that doesn't seem to be my reality. It doesn't seem that I'm only thinking thoughts that I would think with God. And there's a reason for that, because we understand that regardless of what's going on in our thinking, conscious mind, that there is a place of deeper awareness, a deeper sense of connection that we just have to get to. We're digging for it, we're looking for it. And when we start thinking with the mind of God, we're thinking with the mind of love and compassion and forgiveness and kindness and understanding. That's the mind we want to think with. And when we're thinking with all these other thoughts, we can recognize that that's not the mind of God. So we're making this distinction on a daily basis, maybe on an hourly basis. And you know what? We're gonna trip up. We're going to trip up. That's why we call it spiritual practice, because there's things that are going to happen that are not quite the way we had thought would be our ideal self, our best self. And so we start over with an understanding, with consciousness, with awareness, and with a determination to do better and be better. But we get tripped up. There's things that happen. There's this post I saw the other day, and I don't know who posted it, but I really liked it. It says... I thought it was funny. I think it's very Course in Miracles. It says, an optimist is someone who figures out that taking a step backwards after taking a step forward is not a disaster. It's a cha-cha-cha. It's a dance. And so not just the optimist, but the spiritual warrior, the spiritual adventurer, those of us who are on this path realize that it is all just a dance. It's a dance with the universe. It's a dance with spirit, that we are trying every day just to get our steps right in that dance, in that cha-cha-cha. But you know what? There are steps back and there are steps forward. And so during this time of continuously moving in the direction that we want to move into for a higher sense of self, that we pay attention to our thoughts. And we think, is this the thought that I'm thinking with my ego? Or is this the thought that I am thinking with God? Because ultimately, the truth of who you are, your true mind, the depth of your spirit, the soul of what is really true of you, only thinks with the mind of God. So that's what we've been working on all week. My mind holds only what I think with God. So I've been thinking a lot about these concepts, and I have this new book. I'm going to bring it a little closer so you can see it. Let's see, where is that? It's a workbook companion, commentaries on the workbook of A Course in Miracles by Alan Watson and Robert Perry. I would like to thank Barbara Janetta, who recommended this all the way from Canada. She's been keeping in touch with me since she left. She's a snowbird. She was here for a while, and she'll be back, hopefully. And so she told me about this book, and I have found it to be very helpful. So where we left off last week, when I was telling you to begin the, hi Ernesto, when I was talking to you about beginning the review section, and that you were going to be working all week on the review section with the mantra, the chant, the awareness of your higher consciousness, which is that part that holds only what you think with God. It says, this is from the review. The introduction of the review, review 4, page 273 in the Foundation for Inner Peace edition. It says, your self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth. I think I ended with that last week. Your self-deceptions, my self-deceptions, anything that we want to think about ourselves that's less than the truth of who we are, that we think we're not worthy, that we think we're not capable, that is a self-deception. And that cannot hold the truth of who you really are. No more than a child who throws a stick into the ocean can change the coming and the going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, or a sliver of the moon at night. You notice it doesn't say a rock. It doesn't say, you throw a rock and boom, it lands. But if you throw a stick, it floats around, it goes with the waves. It doesn't change the course of the ocean. It doesn't affect the ocean. So in a way, we're like that child who is standing on the shoreline, and we're just living our life and trying to move with the tides and the time of all the circumstances that come our way. So I'd like to read to you a little bit of what is in this commentary. Still can't figure out. Rusty, I need you. So this is, I guess it's Robert Perry's perspective on this. I'm not quite sure because there's two authors, but this is where they start. They said, your usual thoughts are really unforgiveness in disguise. Now, isn't that interesting? It goes right into the ultimate teaching of A Course in Miracles, which is that so much of what is coming out of us when it's an upset has to do with unforgiveness. And we're going to talk more about unforgiveness next week. Since these thoughts are not of God, they obscure the truth that your mind holds only what you think with God. So if they're obscuring your thoughts, your real thoughts, the thoughts that you think with God, then our spiritual practice is an opportunity to notice that, to recognize that, and to look more conscientiously at the thoughts that come up, the unforgiving thoughts that are in us. It says, by clearing them out and thinking only this one thought from the Course, you get in touch with your mind's true state. See, the Course is always reminding us gently to pay attention to our thoughts, to pay attention to what we're thinking and how we're thinking it, and where our mind's going. Can you see me? I'm like all over. Okay, it says God has placed a gift in each word. I love that. God has placed a gift in each word. Let your mind receive that gift. Let each word shine with the meaning that God has given it. Isn't that wonderful? It's kind of like when you put gifts in the stockings for your children. You know, you got these main gifts and you got the little gifts, and they can go seeking them. There's a gift from you. And this is reminding us that everything is a gift from God. And each word has a gift that's been placed in it by God. And what is the gift of God? Is blessing, is love, is light. And so we can receive that. We can receive that love, that light from God. Okay, let's see. Okay, he's going to refer now to that sentence about the child. It says, no more than a child can throw a stick into the ocean, change the coming and going of the tides, the warming of the water by the sun, the sliver of the moon on its night. He says, I see this line as sheer poetry. It uses an economy of words to capture a definite feeling. It begins with the busy activity of a child caught up in throwing the stick. Yet no matter how important his throwing seems to be to the child, it is reduced to insignificance in the face of the majesty of the ocean with its vast perpetual rhythm. Right? The same thing with our rambling mind, our thoughts of despair and upset and, gossip, judgment. It's just like throwing a stick in the ocean. It's not telling us the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is deeper than that. It's the part of us that can truly be connected to God. It says, the child on the beach is us, the thinker of the conscious thought. The child's act of throwing a stick in the ocean is our act of throwing a thought into our mind. The stick represents our usual thoughts. What does that mean? Usual thoughts, subconscious, ego, something less than loving, something not loving. Because if it's not love, it's something that comes from fear, a fear-based, unloving thought. It says the Course is echoing an ancient tradition of seeing the ocean's depths and boundlessness as a symbol of the divine, into which our individual identities eventually merge like the rivers into the sea. So he's reminding us that A Course in Miracles is even looking at ancient traditions. And I've been saying this all along, that there is such a mysterious majesty connecting all of the mystic studies together, all the faith paths, all the religions, anything that rises to the top of dogma that we can skim off and see to be the truth of who we really are and who everyone else is. Then we can start recognizing that the thoughts that we think with God are the thoughts that allow us to be more loving, to be more peaceful, and to ultimately find a place of perfect peace. Perfect peace. So where do we find that? It's deep within, right? It's this depth. It's this depth within us. There was today in the Daily Word that Unity puts out, it was about divine order. And it said, the person who was writing it said, do you sometimes feel like you have an out of order sign that should be put on you? And, you know, it's so true. So many times we just think, oh man, I'm defective, I'm out of order. And yet, you know, like the whole earth has, you know, we would think the whole earth has been out of order lately. And yet the opportunity is to know that that which is out of order can be surrendered to our higher self so that we can make these adjustments in our sight, in our self-concepts, in our vision. You know, God is like those yearly contracts we have. Those of you who are homeowners, you know, we have those people that we make contracts with, and you can call them up anytime and say, oh, my sink's not working, or my air conditioner's not working, and you have a contract with them, and they come in and they say, oh, it's out of order now, Boris, we can come and we can fix it. That's kind of our relationship with God. You think you're out of order? Go to God for a second opinion. I guarantee you, God's opinion of you is not going to be of someone who's out of order, but perhaps someone who just needs an adjustment, right? Because the truth of who you are is hidden beneath all your negative self-concepts. It's hidden beneath the sense of unworthiness to thinking that it has to be somebody else, not you, that you're not the one who's capable of reaching this state of atonement. And yet, you know, every day you get dressed, you go out into the world, and you have an opportunity, no matter what you do and who you contact with, to be an example of a higher consciousness. Simply by how you interact with people, by who you are and how you are in the world. It's there. It's there. We just have to dig for it. Years ago, I bought my first home. And I loved the location. It was a corner lot, and it had a pool. It had a fenced-in yard, and it just seemed like such an amazing opportunity to be a homeowner in this great home. And so I put in a bid, and I got the house, and I was so happy with this house. There's just one thing I didn't like about it, and it was this really old, dirty, green shag rug. And I mean, it was nasty. I mean, I don't know how long that person lived in the house before they decided to sell it, but however long it was, I think that was the last time they cleaned the rug. It was nasty. And so one of the first things I did before we moved in was call somebody in to rip that rug out. I was like, just rip it up, get it out of here, roll it up, put it on the curb for bulk pickup. And when they ripped up that rug, there was some beautiful terrazzo. The original floor of that house was amazing. It was so beautiful. I was really happy about that. I was really happy about ripping up that rug and throwing it out, because I ended up unearthing something very beautiful. And it's very much what the Course is telling us to do, right? It's telling us to rip up that old, shaggy, dirty, nasty, ego-laden, unhappy thinking, so you can unearth the beauty of what's underneath the terrazzo of your mind. Unearth that, because it's there. It is there. There's no doubt about it. The only doubt is our doubt. The only doubt is our thinking that it's not there. So I'm going to see if there's any questions or comments, because I don't know how to get it back. Rusty, where are you? All right. So next week when we meet, we'll have somebody who can take care of this. All right, because I'm not the one. Oh, look at everybody here. Hey, I love you guys. So send me some love. Tap on that heart so you know that that's for you. That's my love for you. And it's just been an amazing week, amazing opportunity to examine our minds, to see our minds, and to see where they go, and to remember that ultimately we want our minds to be connected to God. I see those hearts now. Thank you. So I'm just gonna go through a few of them, and then we're gonna wrap it up. It's been an interesting week. For those of you who don't know my more, who haven't had personal contact with, my roof has been leaking, through this, we have had some really heavy rains. For those of you who don't live close here in South Florida, we've had some really heavy rains. And the result of that has been that I've been putting off for 6 years having to put up a roof. I've just been having it patched like every year, like, I can wait another year, I can wait another year. So it finally came to the point where I can't wait any longer. So we had these really heavy rains this past week, and it started raining inside my house. I mean, there was one leak that I was aware of, and next thing I knew, there were leaks everywhere, just everywhere. It was even raining in my closet. I went to put on some shoes to walk my dog, and it was raining, it was water in my shoes. And so I was walking from the living room into the kitchen, and there was a big puddle there, and I slipped, and I fell, and boom, I fell so hard. I have tile floor, and I was in so much pain. Nothing broke, thank you God, nothing broke. And so I started immediately calling my Reiki friends. I was like, send me Reiki, send me love, send me Reiki. I went and laid down in the bed, and I just waited for the day of pain to pass. And I'm telling you this just because I realized as I was laying there in pain that there was a part of me that wasn't really too attached to the experience I was having. I was really happy that I had found a roofer. I was happy that I had already come into a contract with the roofer, and knowing that I'm getting a new roof, that I have the means to get a new roof, and it's just miraculous. It was just miraculous to think that, if I really needed, if this had happened 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to put a roof on. I would not. I went back to work so that I could afford to do some things for my house, and now my hours have been cut and the money's not coming in as it used to, but I still at this point can take care of it. So I was just happy. I was happy that no matter what, there is this connection that reminds me that all this stuff is just stuff. It's just one day at a time. My mind holds only what I think with God when I see this as just a game, an act one, act two, whatever my eternity is. It's some part of my life experience, and it doesn't have to be miserable. It doesn't have to be horrible. It can just be something, because whatever it is, it gives me the opportunity to dig deeper. It's like ripping that rug up. It's like, just so what? So what? Whatever it is, it's like only a story. Oh well, it's just a story to tell. It's not the ultimate truth of who you are. It's not the ultimate truth of who I am. It's a leak in the roof, right? A couple months from now, everything will be fine. Hopefully we won't have a bad hurricane season this year, but even if we do, it's still a part of the experience that we're here to have. That no matter what is happening, we still have to love, we still have to forgive, we still have to find a place of higher consciousness within ourselves. No matter what's happening, whether it's a good day or not such a good day, whether you fall, God forbid, I don't want anybody to fall like I just did the other day, but whatever it is, it just is. And so we go through the day reminding ourselves that we are here not for the physical purpose, but for beyond the physical, the higher consciousness. My mind holds only what I think with God, and forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. That is where we started in these lessons, reminding us that if we move into a mindset of forgiveness, can I forgive myself for falling? Look, I told one of my friends that I fell, and she reminded me lovingly. She said, Lori, I don't know anybody who's fallen as much as you've fallen. And you know why? Because you move too fast. And it's true. I get up and I zip here. So those of you who know me, you know I move fast. So the last few days, I've become more mindful. I'll take a step slowly and pay attention to where I am. Where are my feet? Where is my body? Let me move slowly, mindfully. So we learn things. We learn about ourselves. And, I was ready to blame Ernesto because I thought maybe he peed on the floor. But no, it wasn't Ernesto. It was my leaky roof. And if I had been moving mindfully from one place to the other instead of zippy, I would not have fallen. Perhaps. We shall see. So I had to forgive myself. I forgive myself because you know what? I just learned something about myself at this ripe old age of old lady. I can still learn more about myself and figure out how to do things differently. So I can do it differently, I can walk differently, I can step more lightly in the world. I don't have to fall again. Everybody, send me that knowing that I don't ever have to fall again, especially not in my living room. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. Let me remember I am one with God, and let me remember that my mind holds only what I think with God. That's all I have to think. That's all I have to remember. In quiet, I receive God's word. In quiet, I receive God's word. Wake up in the morning and put your hand on your heart and say, I am here. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak to me. Speak to me. Tell me where to go. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to say and to whom, so that I know that I am going to move through the world as an instrument of peace and as a voice for spirit. My mind holds only what I think with God. Beyond this world is a world I want. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. No one can fail who seeks to reach the truth. Maybe I need to leave you with that. You cannot fail as you seek to reach the truth. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Put your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath. I cannot fail as I seek to reach the truth. Repeat. My mind holds only what I think with God. I cannot fail when I seek to reach the truth. Yeah, that's true. That's true of you. That's true of you. Listen, next week we're going to get together at the Healing Space. Be sure to text me and let me know if you want to be one of the 10. In a few days, we're going to start a new section. You might have noticed this wasn't a very long, prolonged review. Some of these reviews go on and on and on. And I'll tell you why. We're moving into the second half of the book. The workbook is divided into 2 parts. The first part is about recognizing the need to dismantle an old way of thinking. The second part, which is going to come after about 30 more lessons, maybe in another month, the second part that takes us into the whole rest of the year is about really understanding the importance of applying these truths to every aspect of our lives. It's very prayerful, it's very sacred, and it's very wonderful that you're a part of it and that we're a part of this together. So today's the 28th, and on the 31st, 3 days, we start a new section. So for those of you who are on my in my text group, you know that I will be keeping in touch with you. I'll be sending you songs and the daily lessons. If you are not on my text group and you want to be, please let me know through a private message or an email, however you want to get in touch with me. Next Thursday is June 4th. We're going to be together. We're going to be together. Now, I'm going to play a closing song for you, and I'm going to try really hard to put it up for you in a way that you can read it. This is an oldie but a goodie. I love this song. I played it for you before. I've played it on my guitar, but I'm not going to sing it to you. I love the song, and I want to share it with you. It's called Overwhelmed by Big Daddy Weave, and I don't even know what that means, why they chose that name, but the song is about being in awe of God, being in awe of Spirit, and being overwhelmed, like getting to that point where you feel like, I'm overwhelmed by you, God. I'm overwhelmed by you. Yeah, you know that feeling, right? When you have those moments of bliss, whether it's in prayer, meditation, listening to Here's My Heart, Lord, being together, just getting to that point where you feel just about overwhelmed by the love that you feel. So, before I forget, there's a contact button on the page, and it's very similar to passing the basket. I don't pass a basket even when you're with me. I don't pass a basket, but you pass a basket on the way out, and it's the basket that allows you to provide a financial display of appreciation for this ministry. And that link takes you to PayPal. If you're not on PayPal, I also take Cash App and Venmo, and that's at Rev Lori LMC, at Rev Lori LMC. So we're sharing the light, and we're keeping the lights on, right? Keeping the lights on. So if you are trying to pull up the song on your own YouTube, it's overwhelmed by Big Daddy Weave, and we're gonna end with that tonight. So I'm gonna pull it up for you, and hopefully show it properly to you. It's not working. Let's see.
I see the work of your hands, galaxies spinning a heavenly dance. Oh God, all that you are is so overwhelming. And I hear the sound of your voice. All at once it's a gentle and thundering noise. Oh God, all that you are is so overwhelming. I delight myself in you, captivated by your beauty. I'm overwhelmed by you.
singing? There's no one more beautiful. Oh, yes. Ah. Oh, that's so wonderful. And I got to tell you, I delight myself in you. I delight myself in you. I'm so happy and pleased that we are together on this path together. You are my sacred brothers and sisters, and I am humbled and delighted. So let's end with a deep breath, a moment of silence, hand on your heart. Let go of all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. Wow. Amen to that. Amen to that. God bless you. See you next week. I love you.